Welcome back to Armchair Author Chats. How are you? I'm your host, Rita Slanina, and today we are talking to another amazing author, M. Ward, also known as Mama Maggie, the amazing Mama Maggie. Let's get her on here. We can all say hello. Hi, Maggie. How are you?
Hello, lovelies. How are you? Oh, I'm
Let's.
so happy to be here. The other two interviews earlier with Shannon and Lysandra, those were amazing.
Oh, thank you. They were so engaging, and I really enjoyed talking to them. They were so amazing. So tell us a
Um,
little bit about you.
I was going to say confession. I also celebrate Christmas in July.
Oh, I. You know what I think's going to happen? I think we all need to get together in July and do some sort of thing for Christmas in July. Would that not be fun? Here's me
That
already
would be
planning
fun.
things that. This is my ADHD brain.
So anyway, I'm an independent author, stroke survivor, migraine sufferer. My writing journey started when I had a stroke in 2015, April 28th, 2015. I woke up with a headache. And like the right side was just kind of stiff, achy. You sleep wrong, it's achy. You got kind of a one-sided headache. It's April, it's spring, there's pollen. And you're a mom, you understand. I got to get up. I have a farm, so I had to do the farm chores, go to my job. I was working for the post office at this time as a rural postal master. And I just went through the day, and this headache in the left side of my head just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I was losing time, and I'm like, great, I'm going to have a halo migraine. I don't want to have this. So I stopped and got a soda, went to work at another post office because one of the other rural postmasters had to go to a doctor's appointment for her breast cancer checkup. And by the end of the day, I was just like, I'm just going to die. I just feel so bad. And I made it through and, did my end of shift stuff, went home. And because of where I live, the bus stop is like a mile from our house. So I'm sitting at the stop sign and I can either turn and go home, which would mean I would start doing chores. I would do all of that kind of a stuff, because farm life,
Yeah.
and then I would probably be late to the bus, or I could just drive down to the bus stop, sit there, and then to 20 minutes, I can work on. I was the music director for at the church we belonged to at the time, so I was just going to plan out May's music. And so I went to the bus stop and I was sitting there, and I remember, and this is like the last clear memories I have. I remember watching this military helicopter fly over because we're close to Fort Carson, Colorado. And I remember my neighbor pulling by in his van to get his kids, and I waved at him. And that's the last thing I remember. And I was writing down the music plan, and I actually wrote while I was having my stroke. And you can see me going from normal writing to just lines. I was just writing
Wow.
lines.
Wow.
And that my kids got off the bus and they found me unconscious in the car. And the next thing I remember, I was laying on the ground next to my car with one of my other neighbors holding my head, and she had me on my side. And she was like, "Don't die, Maggie. Just don't die. Hang on, the helicopter's coming." Because out where we live, it's like to get an ambulance is an hour.
Same here. We have the
So
helicopter has to fly in. It takes
they
who
they send the
knows.
helicopter for you. And so they loaded me on the helicopter, and then they took me to the hospital, and they're like, "She's had a stroke." And it was the weirdest thing because I couldn't make the word I wanted come out of my mouth. I knew the word I wanted. I knew what I wanted to say, but I couldn't make it come out. And they were showing me pictures. What's this? What's this? What's this? And they showed me a baseball. Well, I can tell you that like baseballs have like 52 stitches on them. They start in the spring, play through the fall. I can tell you everything about baseball, but I could not make the word baseball come out of my
How
mouth.
scary was that for you?
It was terrifying. It was terrifying. And when I looked at posters like on walls and stuff, it was like looking at them in a mirror. They were all backwards. Everything was backwards.
Wow.
And they didn't figure out about the memory loss for like 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So they were terrified. They did brain scans. I wasn't bleeding in my brain, so that was a good thing. But I had brain damage. I had right side paralysis. I couldn't eat normally for like 6 months. And they were telling my husband in the hospital that, yeah, she's going to be in a nursing home and she might live 4 or 5 more years. And I'm like,
Wow.
I've got kids in school. I've got I
Right.
have
And
to
so
learn.
how did you get from there to writing? You
It,
first.
my, I normally help my kids with their homework. And
Mhm.
so to relearn language, I was learning language as they were learning it. I was relearning. And I
Mhm.
started writing, and my occupational therapist thought this was a great idea. One of the things we were doing is Jorge, or Sci Epic. He is a YouTuber and Twitch gamer. He does role play games. And at the time, he was using Minecraft as an animation engine
Okay.
for his role play series, which is
Mhm.
really very clever. Him and two of his friends. And they were like that he put out this music parody because multi-talented, all of us are like, we're all cross platforms.
Mhm.
And there's this animation scene in the parody where there's this little boy running through the garden with an iron golem.
Okay.
And if you play Minecraft, you know exactly what an iron golem is. And the girls were like, who is that little boy? And so I made up a story about this little boy.
Oh.
And that story was the original War of Prophecies, which then it went from 30,000 words from the original little tiny story that I made up, learning to talk and write again to tell my children, to the entire series is 1.4 million words. So
Wow.
my journey to relearn language and doing to keep something for my brain to be focused on, because I'm one of these people that I have basically it's a type of OCD that's connected with goals, and I'm extremely goal oriented, and so
Mhm.
having these goals kept me moving forward and not giving up on the days when I couldn't walk, on the days when I couldn't feed myself, on the days when the kids had to literally hold on to me and help me to the bathroom because I could not move. And writing these stories and to relearn language, that's really where it started.
That's
Because like
amazing. That's
and it was
amazing story. That is amazing. Oh my gosh.
well whenever something things happen in life, I grew up with this mentality from my grandparents that basically things happen in life and you can either get better or you can be bitter. And
Absolutely.
that whole bitter, better, not bitter is
Better
like a
not bitter.
mentality for
Yeah.
me. So it really was my driving force.
So, can you give us a peek behind the curtain and tell us about any quirky writing habits or writing routine you practice when writing?
Um, well, I'm constantly I change my writing room regularly. That's one thing
Mhm.
I do. But I'm what they call, how they have the people who are method actors.
Yes.
Like, you know what a method actor is?
Yes.
I'm a method writer.
I love this.
So when I'm writing, I it's not just that I'll get a scented candle to think of my character, or a music playlist, which I do. And if you go to my YouTube page, you will find music playlists for different series. And but yeah, I don't just get the scented candles. I change the background. I do a drink menu. I will cook things specific. I do the whole immersion into the character.
I love
For
this. This
my
is total immersion. Like, I don't know if therapy is the right word, but immersion writing, immersion therapy. The whole, I love
Yeah,
this environment.
it's environmental engineering. And basically I engineer my writing environment to be what I need for this book or for this character. And it's like when I was writing Millie Haywood, who is in Pagosa Cliffs, is my baker, and the trilogy Red Velvet and Anemones, The Wild Anemone, and Some Anemones Are Blue. All of
Hmm.
the cakes that are talked about in that, I've made these cakes.
Wow.
I make all the recipes. When I'm doing a chef, I'd make the recipes. When
This is amazing.
I do, and it's like people are like, "You've lost your mind," and I'm like, "No, you don't understand. If you can set yourself into that character's world, it is much easier to portray their voice."
Absolutely.
And so,
Oh,
yeah,
this is the
that is my biggest
coolest.
work. that is my biggest quirk is I literally cheek and I write the world.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my gosh, Mama Maggie, you are amazing. That is so cool. So, can you share any funny or unusual stories that happened while you were writing or promoting your book?
Um, Unusual stories. Well, my middle tends to be my first alpha reader and my first editor. She's does that, but she's off in the Navy now. Um, no, but there was a thing that happened, and it kind of got rolled into Pagosa Stars, where the two twins, the two cousins that are raised as sisters, and their friend are roasting someone, and that all came from something that the middle said to the younger one, and the younger one said something back about floats and about this woman having floats, a very obvious breast implants. And they were
Right.
like, yeah, personal communication devices.
Can we say that live? I think so.
There's floats and there's reels. And it's like, these is reels, those is floats.
Right, those is
And,
floats.
and sadly,
Y'all catch me
it's
floating.
horrible because they're teenagers and teenagers are wolves. They're wolves. And the woman was getting hemorrhoid cream, and the youngest was like, whatever, queen of hemorrhoid cream. And that ended up in the book as the one's dad, the woman was his XXX, like way X. And evidently she had, so I had to write in the book that Floats had done a hemorrhoid cream commercial. And then the teenagers had decided to roast her when she was like, well, I know you want me back. We were so good together. And she's like, he's getting back with my mom and you can walk on. And it's like, you don't want to mess with teenage girls. Teenage girls are mean.
Oh my gosh, have
Teenage
you seen Mean Girls? They're so mean.
teenage girls will make you cry.
Just totally cruel. Oh, that's a great story. Those floats. So, if your book, let's pick one of your books, were to be adapted into a movie, who would you dream cast into the lead roles?
Oh my goodness. See, and I've thought about this. And now you're asking me, and my brain is going completely blank. Well, first, I love Mila Kunis. I love how she looks, and everyone bashes Jupiter Rising. I don't care. I love that movie. I enjoyed the books, but her in a sci-fi series, I absolutely love that.
Here, I'm only
And
thinking of The Wizard of Oz.
yeah,
See Jupiter.
of Wicked, yeah.
Wicked!
No,
Oh my gosh! I saw that Broadway show, and I'm excited for the movie. Anyway, sorry.
yeah, but no, I have actually thought about this, and in my mind, I have most of the Pagosa Cliffs series cast.
Yeah.
Um, I can't think of their names. Bradley, what is his name? Oh,
Bradley
I
Cooper?
can't. No. He played Branch Connolly on the Longmire series, and then he went to play in one of the SWAT TV shows. Let me think of
Does
his
someone
name.
remember that? Maybe they could pop that into the chat. I'm
Um,
drawing a blank. I'm useless on this
oh,
one.
Bailey Chase, that's his name.
Bailey
He played
Chase! Oh, he's
he,
adorable.
yeah, he would be Tank Tanner. He would be Sheriff Tank
Nice.
Tanner 100%. I can see him as Sheriff Tank Tanner, and just, I can see him in my mind sitting at the table with his bottle of whiskey and his one and done, because AA doesn't work for everybody. Some
Right,
people, they can't just go cold, and
right.
that's Tank's story. Is Tank, the whiskey is his siren. After he had the perfect life as an NFL Pro Bowler, beautiful wife, beautiful, a son who adored him, and it just took one wrong friend to ruin his marriage, and one wrong tackle to ruin his
Yep.
career. And then he went on a 2-year bender,
Yeah.
and his pappy took him back to the Tanner Ranch in Pagosa Cliffs and said, "Okay, here's the deal. You're getting sober. You've got a job as a deputy with the sheriff's department." And, I can see him sitting at a table after Sheriff Ray McConnell dies, and they're telling Tank, "You're going to be the next sheriff because there is no one else."
There's no
And
one else.
and
It's
he's
all
sitting
you.
there, and he's like, I don't know if I can be the person everyone wants me to be. And I don't, and,
Yeah,
Tank's
Bailey
broke.
Chase would be perfect for that.
And I've seen him in several things, and he would be the perfect character to play this ex-NFL Pro Bowler working as a sheriff's deputy and just trying to hold himself together, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're a gentleman rancher sheriff. You've got good manners and all of this stuff." And they don't know that like he'll go off to the city and jump boots first down his rabbit hole,
So let's move on. We all love a good story. So what's one book, not your own, that you would recommend everyone should read?
Just one? Just one?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
I know. This is hard to narrow down. I know.
I need to, it's like, pick a genre. Just one book from one genre. Okay.
Just one, the one pops in your head. Boom. Everyone should read it.
See, my brain is like shuffling cards
I know.
in my brain.
I feel like I could see it. Because my brain does the same thing.
Oh, I know. It's like okay. Oh goodness. Well, I read a lot of people did not like the Joy Luck Club. I'm going way back into the 90s. A lot of people were like, this thing, yeah. And the movie was but the thing that book, if you need a character study if you want to develop how characters interact with each other, how they process their baggage, how the baggage will jump up, slap them in the face when they're facing like their parents. The Joy Luck Club is that book.
I love that book.
If you like really want to learn something about character interactions and about cultural norms, how cultural norms are different from place to place, but they're the same because how the girls interact with their mothers. This is not just it's not just a Chinese thing. This is a Native American thing. This
very
is a
well
Hispanic,
developed characters,
Italian
environment.
thing.
Yes,
and it's like, everybody talks about Eat, Pray, Love for Journey of Self-Discovery. No, Under a Tuscan Sky. That one, people do not get that one enough because when the scene in the movie when she's in the apartment and the guy next door is crying.
Right.
In the book, it was so much better because they had regular conversations through the wall. And literally these conversations kept them, you feel like it's keeping them from harming themselves because it's such, but really, the Joy Luck Club, the interactions between the mothers and the daughters, and how the mothers and grandmothers' choices that the daughters never knew about. You see, it has shaped their lives.
Yes.
3 generations later.
Right. Absolutely.
And
great book suggestions. Great. Those are amazing.
After my stroke, because of the memory issues, because I lost all of my music, I lost all of my language, I lost most of the books that I had ever read.
Yeah.
The weird thing is my textbooks from when I was in medical school, when I was pre-med, and when I was studying science and pharmacology, that information is all there. And the reason that information is there, fun fact, the things you experience, the things you do for pleasure, store in a different part of your brain than the things you do rote. So the things you learn for school store in a different part of your brain.
Wow.
And that was one of the things that one of the ways that I tricked myself, because I no longer have the ability to make a memory.
Right.
Short-term to long-term memory was one part of the brain that was damaged on me. But if I write everything down, I read it 3 or 4 times like I'm studying for a test, I can store it in a different part of my brain. So
Wow.
it's a coping mechanism.
So, with all the challenges and overcoming adversities that you've had to endure from your experiences, in your day to day, do you have any tips and tricks for managing your writing schedule?
Um, with my migraines, it makes it a little difficult for me to think. But OCD goal brain keeps pushing me forward. It's like, hey, you have this thing coming up. But the most important thing, like I keep Bujos.
I love Bujos!
And what I do is I do sprint trackers.
Ooh,
And
you
I
are good at keeping up on that.
the sprints that I do. Also, I have a symptom tracker because I daily track my symptoms. Um, but like, here's another one sprint tracker
Very
that I
nice.
did all the way through. Just keeping track of how much you do, like just blocking it off. Like I block off 1 hour's segments. You can block off 20 minutes. If your sprint length is 25 minutes, do the 25-minute one. Go ahead, because seeing this filled out,
Yeah.
it gives you, even if you only do 1 or 2 a day, it gives you such a sense of accomplishment. And it's so important for you to get that little endorphin thing to feed yourself so that you know, I did do something this month. I did get this accomplished this month. Look at what I did.
Right.
And it might not seem like much. You're like, oh, I only got 10 sprints this month. You got 10 sprints this month.
It vindicates you in a way that's positively reinforcing you.
Yes. And
Right.
the other thing that I recommend is I make lists, things that don't have to do with my writing. Non-writerly creativity is very important. You don't just need to refill your creative writing well by reading things. Yeah, write down what you read. Write down if you're watching something on Netflix, it gives you an idea. If you're watching it on BritBox, I love BritBox.
I like
Write
Acorn. Well, I like Acorn too. But
Yeah. If you have a scroll moment, write it down. Write down, what you're writing in the series and stuff, because you don't know where the next good idea for your book is going to come from,
right.
or an idea for a filler for a scene. You don't know. So, yeah, keeping track of my sprints per month, keeping track of my projects, that is what keeps me going. Another thing that I absolutely love to do is when I get the book done, and I get to hold the printed copy because, yeah, I'm very tactile. So holding the printed copy is
Yes.
my big reward. But I have a Kanban board with everything up on it, and getting to take the Post-it off the Kanban board and just tear it into little pieces, I am
Yes.
done.
Kanban is life. Are you kidding? I love the Kanban board.
So yes, I track things and I plan things. My Kanban board is usually a year out. I usually do it my year's plan, and then on the very bottom I'll have a few things for the next year already set.
Oh,
So
I may have
I
to
plan,
take that tip home with me for sure because
yeah,
I was
and
trying to
and
do it quarterly and it was not working out very well. Just to look like
well,
a mess.
I have it set in writing projects, editing projects, publishing projects. So things get moved around.
Right.
And then I have it set from top to bottom in the quarters, and then at the very bottom I have like next year's things. And if I
Ah,
get to a place where I'm like, I can't work on any of these projects, the brain says, no, let's look what's down here for us to work on. Or, I'll do a flash fiction because that can always go in my story seed folder. Anything I do is a flash fiction or short story. Hi, I'm Maggie. I'm addicted to words. I'm an overwriter, and the short story I write is going to be a novel eventually.
I
Thank you.
love you. You're amazing. You're awesome. Mama Maggie, thank you so much for being here. Would you like to leave our audience with where we can find you, where your books we can find them? We want to buy your books. Where are you?
Yes, Mama Maggie Ward. It's just MM Ward. I am on Amazon. I am on. Also, I leave all of my drafts on Inkit for free. So my rough drafts, if you can't afford a Kindle, because things are tight. Yeah, you can always hit the old copies of my books on Inkit and still read them. Also, if you don't want to support the Overlord A, you can find me as Penumbra Mine, because my LLC is Penumbra Mine Writing. You can find us on Ko-fi, and you buy me a Ko-fi, and I will send you an EPUB or Mobi version of the book of your choice.
Perfect, perfect. Well, for more information, the links will be in the description below, and it will also be in the show notes on the podcast, which will be uploaded later this afternoon. And if you like this interview, please like, comment, subscribe, share it. Let everyone know. Thank you, Mama Maggie, for being here. I
Thank
appreciate
you for
you.
having me. Be blessed.
And that's going to bring us to the end of Armchair Author Chats for today. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming.